John Stevenson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For many months, we have had broadly the same debate on the same subject, with many of the same speakers saying exactly the same things. And what precisely have we achieved? It really is now time for Parliament to find a way forward so that the country and we can return to the daily issues that really matter to people. Our constituents up and down the country, let's be honest, are fed up and frustrated, and arguably so are many members of Parliament. We, as a Parliament, really need to step up and make some real positive decisions. I therefore welcome today's debate, something which arguably we should have done probably a couple of years ago and got it out of the way. But my starting point is very simple. This country did vote to leave the EU. Therefore, I firmly believe that we must leave the EU institutions. What was unclear from the referendum, though, was the nature of our future relationship with the EU. And as we have discovered, this means many different things to different people and has to some extent created the problems and the difficulties which we are now in. There is no clear direction. This sadly has, in my view, also been down to a serious lack of leadership by the government and unwillingness to bring people together and to reach some sort of compromise. But quite clearly, we cannot go on as we are. We do need some clear direction. That is now a requirement for this country. Hopefully, and I say hopefully, we may achieve that during the course of today. We will have to find out what people in this House are willing to accept by this evening, and maybe something will start to emerge. But to some extent, Parliament has already indicated that it does not want a no-deal scenario, nor does it want a second referendum. And so far, there is no sign that the PM's deal will actually achieve a majority in this House. I have supported that deal twice, and I will do so again. And interestingly enough, had it passed, and I say this to many of my colleagues on my own side, had it passed, we would have actually been leaving the EU this Friday. So from their own perspective, I do actually question what their motives were.
Where are the ERG?
So what should we do? I look back and say my mother has always remarked that back in the 1970s, the general view was that the UK wanted to be part of an economic bloc, but not part of a political union. And I would suggest that nearly 50 years on, when I have these similar discussions with my mother, her view is still exactly the same. We should be part of an economic bloc, but not part of the political union. And I suspect that that is actually the view and the attitude and the outlook of the vast majority of the people of the United Kingdom, and is certainly mine. I am very comfortable with the fact that our country will be leaving the EU institutions. However, I do also believe that it is in our economic and political interests to be part of a close economic arrangement. And for our purposes today, that would be the model of EFTA EEA, Common Market 2.0 approach, one that takes us out of the EU but keeps us part of the economic market that is Europe. And I would like to have gone into the detail of EFTA EEA and the Common Market 2.0, but I think that has been well argued by the Honourable Member for Aberavon and the Honourable Member for Grantham and Stamford, and more recently my Honourable friend from Thirsk and Malton. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, we have today an opportunity to actually indicate to the Government what would command the support of this House. And that will only apply clearly if the PM's deal does not succeed, but I hope that we can come to some sort of consensus and some sort of way forward. However, I would say this: leaving the EU is central. Being part of a large economic market is vital, and therefore the obvious solution is an EFTA EEA arrangement, one that I will be supporting later today, and one that I would encourage other members to support as well. Thank you.